So jumping right into things, we're going to start off with her eyebrows. I'm going to be taking the L'Oreal Brow Stylist. I believe the shade I'm using is dark brunette. What I'm going to do is I'm going to brush all her brow hairs up, then line the bottom, brush all her brow hairs down, and then line the top. This is going to help you follow the natural shape of her brows. Once I am done with that, I'm going to jump into the Anastasia brow powder, and I'm going to fill in just a little bit around in her brows wherever she's missing a little bit of hair, just to make them look a little bit fuller. Once we're done with that, we're going to take some concealer. I think I'm using the Maybelline Master Conceal just to really clean up and sharpen up her brows. And when I'm doing that, I'm going to be dragging it downwards, and I'm going to be using the same concealer to just go ahead and prime her eyelids. Once we are done priming and blending everything out, I'm going to be going in with the Makeup Geek, just plain matte vanilla shade, and just going ahead and setting all that concealer. Then once we are done really setting that, I'm going to go in to the color Innocent using the Pro Tartist palette, and I'm using a Sigma E40, and I'm just using this as our first transition color, just buffing it back and forth into the crease. A little bit heavy just because we want this transition to really set the tone for the rest of the look. This is going to be such a dark, vampy kind of look, so you just really want to make sure all the colors that you're putting in her crease are really popping and showing through. So now I'm going in with the color Mod, which is this deep mauve kind of purpley shade, and I'm using an R37 brush from Morphe from their Rose Gold collection, and I'm putting this in the V shape, packing it on top of her lid and then into the lower crease. Once I have the majority of products in that outer V, I'm going to go ahead and blend it inwards towards her inner corner of her eye. But as you can see here, I'm just doing kind of just like wiping motions, and then once I have the majority packed on, I am dragging it inwards. Then going in with the color Drama, we're doing the exact same technique using the exact same brush, just packing it onto that outer V, making sure the majority of the product is there. And once we are done with that, we're going to be dragging it inwards a little bit, just making sure we don't have any harsh lines and everything is really blended out and seamless looking. Since this is a dark matte shade, I'm going to be sitting here for a while really working that color to make sure we don't have any patchy spots or anything like that. Now jumping into the black in this palette called Punk, I'm going to be taking a fluffy like pencil brush and just really packing it onto the outer V of her eye, not dragging it in too far because you don't want it to get too deep and too dramatic too quick. So I'm really working that black into the outer V. Then I'm going to go back in with that R37 brush and then go ahead and just buff everything together, which will end up blending that black out a little bit more. Just you don't want to drag it too far in so it doesn't get too crazy. I'm going to pack some more black on and then do the exact same thing over again. You want to work really slowly with blacks because things can get really crazy really quickly. So once I feel like everything's really blended out really seamlessly, I'm going to go into this NYX Jumbo Pencil in, I believe the color is Milk, and I'm going to apply this just to the front part of her lid because we're going to go in with a matte white creamy kind of shade, and I really want that color to pop and not be so light. So this really sets down the base for the color to really shine through even if it's a matte. So now going in with the two colors in this palette called Classic and Vintage, I'm going to use a flat shader brush and just begin to pack that over the same place where we put the Jumbo Milk Pencil. And as you can tell, the white is super, I guess you could say, pronounced and out there, and that's because we laid down the base first and we didn't have to pack on too much. So as you can see, I'm going to be going in with that white shade until I get the intensity that I want. Then switching back to that R37 brush, I'm going to go back into Mod and Drama and begin to blend those colors in together so you get that really ombre effect from the classic white to the mauve color to the black. And if you lose a little bit of that white, you can go back in and pack a little bit more in and then blend everything out. Then I'm going to go in with a clean blending brush with no product on it and just buff everything together. This makes sure that the look doesn't get any messy or dirty looking. Now going in with Maybelline's gel liner, I'm going to use just an angled liner from Sigma and give her a wing. She has really big eyes, so I was able to give her a really dramatic wing, and I love the way that it ended up looking. I have a winged liner tutorial that I just put up, so if you're interested in seeing on how to achieve a really good wing liner, just go ahead and check that out. So once we have finished applying some wing liner, since she does have big eyes, I was able to really go more dramatic on her eyelashes. So I went ahead and I stacked 2 lashes together. I stacked Salon Perfect 615 and 614 to give her a really dramatic full look. Now going in with Makeup Forever Step 1 Equalizer in Smoothing, I'm going to apply this all over her face using a duo stippling brush, then blend it out using a beauty blender. Then going in with EX1 foundation, I forgot what shade she was. She was, I think, maybe 10. I'm going to use a paddle brush and put this all over her face and then blend it all out using a beauty blender. Again, this is one of my favorite ways on applying foundation because I feel like you don't lose a lot of product. You place all the product on your face first and then you blend it out with the beauty blender, which actually gives you a lot more of a fuller coverage. If you wanted a lighter coverage, I would suggest just going straight in with your beauty blender. So once we have really blended everything out, I'm going to go in with LA Girl Pro Concealer in the shade Toast to really contour her face. I'm going to be doing the sides of her forehead, along her cheekbone, her nose, and then with the excess, I'm going to put it underneath her jawline. I love this color on her. I use this on myself sometimes, and sometimes I hate it, sometimes I like it. I like it a lot for nose contouring, but on her, since she is a lot darker than me, it just really bronzed up and contoured her face so nicely and so naturally. So once we are done blending everything out, I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the color Medium. I'm going to apply this to the top of her forehead, along the bridge of her nose, her chin, underneath her eyes, and then with the excess, I'm going to drag that along her contour line underneath where we contoured, just to really naturally bring out that contour a little bit more and define it and chisel it a little bit more. So once that is all blended out, while she's still looking up, I'm going to go in with the RCMA No Color Powder and really set everywhere where I place that concealer so she doesn't get any fine lines or any fine lines or anything settles into her fine lines. I lost my train of thought. Now going in with the Ben Nye Topaz Powder. This is something new that I tried and I wanted to see how it worked just because she was willing to play around. So I went in with this Topaz Powder and I placed it everywhere where we placed that LA Girl Pro Concealer. Since this is a little bit of a warmer orangey shade, I used this to really bronze up her skin and really set that contour powder. And I actually really like the outcome that I got from it. I wouldn't use this on anybody who's any lighter than her because it is really warm and really orangey, so it can make you look like a Oompa Loompa real quick, but since she is dark, this worked out really well on her. As you can see right here, as I'm dusting it away, it brought a little bit of color and a little bit of warmth to her skin. Now going in with NARS Laguna, I'm just going to lightly dust this over everywhere we contoured. This is actually an extra step. You don't really need this because of that Ben Nye powder, but I wanted just to bring a little bit, or just to tone down that warmness a little bit more. But I'm going to mainly use this to really contour and chisel out her nose a little bit more than what it is. Now for blush, I'm going to be jumping into the Morphe 9N palette, and I'm going to go in with this peachy kind of rosy color right here. It's such a bronzy color. It's so pretty, and I'm just going to apply this to the apples of her cheeks just to bring a little bit more life into her cheeks. Then once we are done applying that, I'm going to use a dual stippling brush because I went a little crazy, so I'm blending that out. Now going with the Anastasia Nicole Guerrero Glow Kit, I'm going to use Glow Getter and 143 and apply this to the top of her cheekbones, along her chin, the bridge of her nose, the tip of her nose, and basically all over, but very lightly. I love this brush to highlight. It gives you such a natural overall glow without being so heavy and so stark on your cheeks. It's just brings so much life to your face without looking crazy and super highlighted. So then once we were done with that, I'm going to take that Wet n Wild crown of my Canopy highlight and apply that to all over her face because this is such a soft highlight. It also brings such a nice pretty glow to your face. I've recently become super obsessed with this. Once we're done with that, I'm going to go into RCMA No Color Powder again and really just carve out her cheeks just to really bring out that contour. Now going in with that color Mod, I'm going to use this fluffy blending brush right here and apply that all the way across her lower lash line. Then going in with the color Drama and doing the exact same thing that we did, applying it all the way across her lower lash line just to really deepen up the look and add a little bit more dimension. So once I have really buffed those two colors out, I'm going to take the black from that palette Punk with a definer brush and just lightly line my lower lash line with this just to add a little bit more of depth and dimension. Then I'm going to blend out that powder on her cheeks and go back to the eyes with a Rimmel Eye Kohl liner in black and line her lower lash line with that. Now going into this highlight shade in this palette, and I'm going to add that to the inner corners of her eyes just to really finish off the look and top everything off. Then I'm going to go ahead and set her face using Milani Make It Dewy spray. She does have dry skin, so I love doing this setting spray for whoever has dry skin because it makes everything settle into your face but still look kind of glowy and dewy but not too oily. Now going in with Kylie Cosmetics liquid lipstick in the color Vixen, I'm going to apply this all over her lips. I thought this was a little bit too dark for this look, so once I'm done applying it, I'm going to go in with Anastasia's American Doll and apply that to the center of her lips and really blend it outwards. This gives it a little bit of like a burgundy ombre kind of effect on her lips, and I love the way it ended up. I hope you guys enjoyed this look. I hope I inspired you in some kind of way. And if you aren't subscribed to my channel, make sure you hit that little button down below before you go. And I will catch you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.